Good morning, my beautiful friends. So I had a great question. How do I know if AI has hallucinated? What steps do I go through for that vetting process? In my 3 steps: ask a good question, vet the response, decide how to share. How do I do that middle part? So one of the reasons that I love Notebook so much is that I can see everything that Notebook pulled for me. Now, if you were with me yesterday for yesterday's video, you know I made a few things over here, I made some charts, and then I added them in here. I've gone and deleted them because in yesterday's example, I didn't vet the responses. I just collected things to show you. But today we're actually going to Scooby-Doo and look through the resources to make sure that they're accurate. Now remember, you can ask Google to find resources for you, and you can also import your own. But be careful, because anything that's been published online is usually scrapable by the large language models, the LLMs, ChatGPT, Gemini, right? So it's out there on the floor, and that's what it's pulling back for you and putting into your notebook. But if you receive a report at your job or in your institution, if you work in higher ed or if you work in a hospital, make sure that you actually have permission to use that information. Because remember, you can download your own sources. You can, when you add things, you can upload your own files, your own PDFs, etc., etc. So you can add your own stuff, but make sure that you have permission, because anytime you add something to AI, even here in Google Notebook, you are putting it out into the world for others to use. So you want to make sure that you have permission to use the material. So if you're looking in here, we didn't put any of our own resources in. We asked Google for theirs, and these are the things that it brought back. So how do you know if they're valid? Well, you click on them. First, you go through the list, and remember that Google gives you batches of 10. So I recommend doing this for each batch, because you don't want to wait till the end. It used to be 50 sources you could have in here, but I think they've upped that now to 300 or something like that. You don't want to wait till it's 300, right? Do them in batches of 10. So you want to click on the resource, and then you want to go to it, and you want to see where it came from. So this is from pa211east.org, which I happen to know is a reputable site. So I know that this infographic is actually accurate, right? So I know that this is a good thing that Google pulled for me, right? And I'm going to do that for each one of these. This is from Times News, right? Which is our local newspaper, right? So, you know, I know that they're reputable. County fact sheet. Right, so this looks good. So I would do that for each one of these, and I'm not going to make you sit through me doing that, right? So I go through each one of these to make sure that they're good, because whatever you create over here is going to look over here to make whatever it is it's making, right? I'm going to show you an example in a second. So if this information is good, these will be good as well. So take the time to go through these. If any of them are red, that means that they're the links are dead, and the notebook can't see them, so you just delete those. There was one in here that I couldn't verify whether or not the source was credible, right? The source had said, which I appreciated, the first line was that it was generated by AI and was a summary of materials, but I don't know what their vetting process is, so I kicked it out, right? I kicked it out because I didn't think I couldn't verify the data that they were using. So you go, you know, just piece by piece. Oh. You go piece by piece, right? And homelessness.org, charity organization, right? You know, and you just make sure that the content is stuff that you're comfortable with. Once you're comfortable with what's over here, then you can start using these tools over here. And you can see I've made a slide deck right from the material that was included over there. So it did a really great job of summarizing the content, right? So I don't have to worry if this is right or wrong if I've taken my time over here. And that's it. That's how you do it. Take some time, right? It takes some time to verify the sources. Again, I recommend doing them in batches of 10. Anything that you bring in, make sure you have permission to use it. For example, let's say I want to do a presentation. I'm always recruiting volunteers for the Red Cross. Let's say that I want to do a presentation about the Red Cross's work in Carbon County. Well, I have access to internal reports as a Red Cross volunteer, but I don't know if I have permission to use that material because I don't know if it's been published out in the world. So you have to ask somebody at the Red Cross if you can use that material. Number one, if it's been published somewhere online and that's out there, or it's in a video on their YouTube channel or something like that, you can use those materials because they've been published, but you can't publish internal documentation. If you take notes at a meeting, let's say I'm at a Red Cross meeting and I take notes about the responders in Carbon County, I don't know if that information is allowed to be shared in the public, so it's always best to ask and always best to let folks know what you're doing and what your plans are. And then always be sure to, whatever final documentation you have or share or whatever you're creating over here, if you're sharing this with others, be sure to tell them that you've used AI. Be ethical in presenting your material, saying that you've used AI and that you have vetted the process. The one document that I couldn't use over here, they said they used AI, but they didn't tell me how they vetted it. They didn't say, that they went through and made sure that all the information was accurate. So on anything that I produce, I always put a line that says, the following information was written in collaboration with Gemini, Google Gemini AI, and has been vetted for accuracy as of December 28th or whatever, right? So it's always good to have a statement somewhere in your document letting your reader know. And I did appreciate that on that page, they did let me know that AI was used, but I didn't know how it was vetted, so I couldn't use it. All right, I hope that's helpful for you. I'm wishing you all the very best. The next video is going to be about how to use this information to create something like an app. I wanted to create an app that people could use if they are displaced, that they could type in what they needed and it would show them resources in Carbon County that they can rely on. So I am wishing you all the very best and brightest. Be well. Take care. Bye-bye.